it was quite just unsettling with all the travel and everything, and just the New York is just so stimulating. And I was feeling a little bit out of place. And every time I kind of felt that, or I felt like something was not feeling right, I sort of resorted to the practice, and I was able to observe, okay, I'm feeling this. This is not me. This is, and every time I ask that question, well, who is this happening to? It sort of instantly calmed me down.
Yes. And last week in our lessons on the gunas, New York is very rajasic.
Extremely rajasic. Yes, I would say so.
But see, you can see it. It's not in you. It's not about you. It's always in front of you.
In front of you, yes,
Does that make sense?
it does.
Yes. Very good. Very good.
I also discovered that being on a long flight is actually an excellent place to do. But I was actually more focused on my meditation on the long flight, sitting in a middle row seat, than sometimes I am at home.
It's very good. It's very good. And how about you, Daryl?
I was pretty consistent with my practice. I actually tried to go from 20 to 25 minutes, and that was okay, but I did find some mental fatigue creeping in those last 5 minutes. Um, I found that interesting, just observing that. And I felt a little distracted this last week. I'm learning some new techniques and I'm really excited about them. I find them just pulling my attention away from being able to concentrate.
And what are these new techniques?
Oh, there are techniques that have to do with kind of just work and the body and correcting
Okay,
biomechanics. It was kind of like
so
discovery.
not meditative techniques.
That was the problem. If it was meditative techniques, I might have been more excited about it. But these other techniques from my life were distracting me in a good way because I'm excited about them to learn something, but in a bad way, they were pulling me away from being able to concentrate.
Yeah.
But all in all, I still I feel that I'm able to get a little bit deeper and not get so involved and just watch it, even though it's happening and it may be strong. I can still just watch it as a person observing someone else per se.
We did this technique at the very first or second week, but one of the things that can be useful. So there you are with this very important project of learning your body mechanics and your health and stuff like that. You make the conscious decision to put it on the shelf.
Mhm.
Okay, it's important. I am going to deal with it. I'm going to think about it, but not for the next 20, 25, 30 minutes.
Yeah,
Consciously make that choice.
right, right.
And I found that useful.
Yeah, actually, I do remember using that. And for some reason, I forgot. I can get back to that if it happens, when it happens again. But it was a good week. I was dedicated and focused, and I think I'm getting better at observing my thoughts without getting involved in them.
Excellent. Excellent. And what about this diagnosing of the mind states as the mind moves through tamas, rajas, and sattva? Did you see it do that?
Probably didn't put enough emphasis on that, but I did. I do remember thinking at least once, if not twice, throughout the week, watching myself go through the sattvic state and then back to the tamastic states. And, yeah, I did notice.
And the most important thing is to remember it is very difficult to go straight from tamas to sattva. So it's counterintuitive. Oh, I'm supposed to be meditating, I'm supposed to be quiet. But if your mind is dull, you're in pain, you're feeling shut down, you stimulate the mind with activity. You stimulate with desire, even. So do a physical project, clean the house. And of course, the best of them all is selfless service. Go help another human being. Then when your mind is in the Rajasic state, then you can move it towards Sattva. And that's a little technique that many people don't realize. They sit in meditation when they're in a tamasic state and they either fall asleep or they get frustrated. And then they say, meditation isn't for me.
Yeah.
All right, good work. And Hugh, you're online. How did you do?
Hey, Jim. It was very good overall. I was had a lot of, I was got pretty good at actually like just walking around and noticing the Rajasic versus Tamasic versus the Sattvic states. It was a lot of, especially because I've been under the weather. It's like very easy to note when you're in a sick or kind of tamasic or like lethargic state from that versus the other states. So I feel like I had a little bit of an advantage. But you know, it was, you know, really good, easy to note, and start to really feeling the differences, and became a lot more natural. And then, yeah, I was applying the jhana meditation as well to, you know, while still feeling sick, to try, you know, some of the discomforts in the body, and trying to so, you know, sort of, you know, observe that, you know, those weren't mine, that they were happening, or there was an experience happening, but they weren't mine. And that was very helpful in dealing with some of that discomfort. Although, as you noted, like when I was in like a really severe tamasic, just exhausted state, it's, you know, yeah, I at that point I would just go and focus on the breath, and let that happen. So depending on if I was more Rajasic or a Sattvic state, I was able to to apply that. And when I was just in the tamasic state and just feeling sick, I'd just kind of lay on the couch and try to focus on the out breath.
Now, is this illness the same thing you had several weeks ago or something new?
Same thing. Yeah, it's just been persistent. Yeah, the doctor's helping me get in the right direction on it. It's just going to take some time, she said.
Okay. And Mark, do you want to share anything about your practice?
Well, I'm still meditating an hour a day, and I moved it to earlier in the day, and that's very helpful. I'm less likely to fall asleep when I do that. And as far as observing, I'm doing a project at my house, and it was not going how I would like it to go. And I was getting frustrated, and I was able to watch my mind and calm down. I wasn't as involved in it. I just said, "Oh, okay, I'm going to accept that it's not going, and I'll wait and do what I need to do to get it on back on track."
Great. Right. Is there anyone else online or is that everybody?
That's everybody.
All right, well, let's sit,
Before we do that, Jim, can I ask a question?
please.
So I find myself really stuck in the Rajasic state. I feel I gravitate towards activity, some kind of, you know, needing to be in motion, needing to be productive. And I feel like I cannot progress. I sort of get stuck there. And I know that I'm there, I have awareness, but I'm sort of not able to kind of get myself out of that situation.
And the way to get out of Rajas into Sattva, Viveka Vairagyacha. Keep discriminating between the self and the not self, the real and the unreal. Your mind is telling you either need to get people, places, things, and conditions handled, or change yourself in order to be happy. Then the vairagya, letting go of my attachment to all experiences gained through the senses. And what we're going to work on today is that personal sense of self. Getting stuff, accomplishing stuff is not what's going to make it better. What's going to make it better is letting go. Then do your duty. But letting go of hope. Oh, if I just get this done, then I'll be okay. And your duty will call you. You're a woman with a career. But when you meditate, again, like what I was sharing with Daryl earlier, just put all that stuff on the shelf. And it's tapas. It's work in the beginning. It's work. It does not come naturally or easily for some of us. But it's vasana pressure that keeps pushing the mind into activity. That's what it is. Is that useful?
It is. I guess I'm like my internal experience at that point is if I've got a lot to do, and I'm taking 20 minutes to meditate, I almost feel like I'm undeserving of
Yeah.
that time.
And your mind is lying to you. They're worth it. You deserve peace of mind. You deserve happiness. You deserve joy in your life. It's your real nature. It was years ago, must be about a decade ago now. I was walking across the street from Grand Avenue in the sidewalk, and I was behind this woman who had two kids. I think one was probably 4 and one was probably 5, two girls. And the younger one just couldn't help herself. She let go of her mother's hands and then she jumped up and down and then twirled around and then ran to the other side of the street. She was just so full of the joy of life. You ever seen kids like that?
Mhm.
We're designed to live that way, not burdened with responsibility. And there's that incredibly powerful line from Hamlet: to grunt and sweat under a weary life. No, it's not our nature. It's not our nature at all. That doesn't mean we don't accomplish things. It's a shift on the inside. And it comes from mature vairagya. Is that useful?
Mhm.
And this is my own direct experience, having practiced this for 50 years. But it's also what the scriptures teach us. All right, let's sit for a bit. And again, let's start by just taking some deep breaths. And all the issues of the world, personal ones, our health, our family, our jobs, our finances, politics, the world. Let's just give them to God for 20 minutes. Let's just turn everything over to God. Ishvara pranidhana. Trustful. Surrender to God. And just be with the breath for a moment. This morning, I let all my strivings cease. I don't have to be powerful. I don't have to be strong. I don't even have to be spiritual. It's okay to be little. It's okay to be powerless. I give everything to the end. This is the deepest meaning of vairagya, detachment. Letting go of all attachment, all struggle. All the things going on in the world is not self. I give it to God. Everything in my work life, not self. I give it to God. Everything in my body and my health, I am not the body. For now, I just give it to God. Whether I've been sick or well, my energy level, the energy is not self. I give it to God. All my feelings, my joys, my sorrows, frustrations, everything, not self. I give it to God. All my ideas of what it should be or shouldn't be, all the narratives, regrets for the past, worries for the future. I let them all go. Not self. Koham, who am I? I am that unattached, witnessing consciousness that never changes. Never known as an object, yet not unknown. It's me. Nirmalam, without any taint or dirt. Achintyam, beyond any thinking. Vishuddham, extremely pure. Nirupam, I have no form. Nityam, eternal. I am outside of time and space. Ever the same as Chidakash, the space of pure awareness. The Blessed Lord says when a person casts off all the cravings, all the desires of the mind, and is satisfied in the self, by the self, then they are said to have attained to steady wisdom, steeped up by peace, peace. Asangoham, 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 puna punaha, Sachidananda Rupam, aham me vaham mayaya, unattached, unattached, unattached am I again and again. My nature is pure existence, pure awareness, and bliss absolute. I am that I am, eternal and new. Om. 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 Let's open our eyes. So how did you all do? Start with you, Bhavna.
Good. I was mostly focused on the breath. And every time I felt like the mind was going to like to-do lists, I was able to catch myself and bring it back to the breath.
Excellent. And you, Daryl?
Well, I did good. The guided words in the beginning helped. Much like Bob and my mind kept going to optimization of the to-do list, best way to do things. And you saying that you don't even have to be spiritual helped as well. I kept kind of going back to that, like I don't have to be anything. Just forget about it, and I was able to find a peaceful zone there for a long time. Thank you.
And Hugh, how about you?
Very good. Yeah, I was looking at the, just feeling more and more awareness and I guess presence just building up over time. And yeah, I was really grateful for the instructions at the beginning. It helped me detach from some of the unpleasant kind of sick feelings and just go into the awareness.
Yes. Okay. Well, last week we were supposed to cover samadhi, 3 kinds of samadhi that are important. So let's wrap up that particular part of the teaching. Samadhi is talked about a lot in the scriptures. Some Vedantins say that samadhi is not necessary. All I can say is those of us who've studied Viveka Chudamani, Shankara talks about it a lot. And Swamiji talked about it a lot. What is samadhi and why is it of value? We have Savikalpa Samadhi, Nirvikalpa Samadhi. I'm actually going to talk about 4 of them. Jada Samadhi and Sahaja Samadhi. So let's try to remove all the romantic notions. It's not some ecstatic state that you go into. The etymology, sama, which means same, the mind. What it basically means is these moments when the mind is free from mentation, from thoughting, from vimarsha, deliberating. It's the space between our thoughts. In that space between our thoughts, if the attentive faculty is introverted, then I can have the direct experience. Oh, there's no person there. There's only the space of pure awareness. Now we have fleeting samadhis all the time. We call it spacing out. You've had a hard day at work and it's 4:30, 5 o'clock, you're on a crowded BART car, you're holding the thing, and all of a sudden, mind goes away, mind comes back. And what do you realize? Back of BART seat, because the attentive faculty has to be turned within. It's those two together. Now, the first stage of samadhi is what we call sa vikalpa samadhi. Sa means with, vikalpa here means the perception of objects in mind. There's still a slim sense of I am the individual. It's what Swamiji used to call tuning up the mind. Sometimes here in class, with the help of the teacher, our minds will just go. And everything gets so quiet. But there's such a sense of presence. But there's still these subtle notions of me, the individual, the witness. When all the vasanas have been exhausted, annihilated, then the mind thunders to a stop. And the individual sense of self is gone. In Nirvikalpa Samadhi, it is like deep sleep in that there's no individual and no world apparent. But unlike deep sleep, you're completely conscious. It's timeless, meaning from the outside, someone may see you in samadhi, and it can be seconds, minutes, or hours even. But subjectively, it's no time. It's like deep sleep in that way. Who here is awakened in the middle of the night and you have absolutely no idea what time it is? Who's had that experience? Why? Because sleep is timeless. You have no idea how much time has elapsed. So also with Nirvikalpa Samadhi. What is the value of Nirvikalpa Samadhi? It reveals to us without a doubt the no thingness of our essential nature. And it seems that the mind will not let go of its identification with the personal sense of self without it. Some scriptures say it's not necessary. I would say that's for the A++ students. But for most of us, samadhi is useful. Now, the scriptures describe Nirvikalpa Samadhi when the knower, knowing, and known, what we call the triputi, the triple factor, is merged into one. I am the knower. The knowing is me. What is known is me. Oh, wait a minute. Nirvikalpa is another name for myself. So it's not that I have achieved, attained, or acquired anything. What I've done is get rid of the deliberating mind. Swamiji used to talk about his spiritual algebra. Have we gone through that in this class? Yes, no?
I don't think so.
So I'm gonna be on the backside of the blackboard. You gotta imagine it here. Mind with a capital M is equal to A, awareness, plus TF, thought flow. Mind equals awareness plus TF, thought flow. So if I take the TF and I move it to the other side of the equal sign, what do I have to do?
Minus.
Minus. So mind minus TF, thought flow, equals pure awareness. I don't have to get awareness. I actually don't even have awareness like I have a thought or a feeling or a nose or toes. I am awareness. That becomes clear when I remove, even just for a moment, the flow of thought. In a great, great text called Tripura Rahasyam, the mystery beyond the Trinity, the self is described as prakasha, which means light, the light of pure awareness. And the mind is described as vimarsha, the liberation, the flow of thought. Remove the vimarsha, and what remains is the prakasha. That's all there is to samadhi. So this is how the truth of my essential nature is revealed. Now, many people get stuck striving hard for samadhi, and they make nirvikalpa samadhi another object of desire. That, first of all, they probably have romantic ideas about what they think it is. I have found that that's not a useful striving. Better strive to know what's my essential nature. Who am I? Let samadhi creep up on you from behind and hit you over the head. In the end, all we can really practice is tuning up the mind, savikalpa samadhi, and keep dropping our attachments, letting all the sensory data just pass through. Just like you can't practice sleeping. You can only practice getting sleepy. You put on your jammies, you maybe make some chamomile tea, fluff your pillow, get in bed. Whatever your ritual is to become sleepy. If you're successful at practicing becoming sleepy, then the mind slips into sleep. The same. Savikalpa samadhi is really the only thing we can practice, but it points towards the nirvikalpa state. And in the scriptures, over and over and over again, you hear so and so is taught the truth by some sage or celestial damsels or something. And then contemplating the nature of themselves, the mind goes into samadhi. They usually say for a muhurta. That means 48 minutes. And then they come out. The third samadhi I want to talk about is what's called jada samadhi. Jada means inert. This is the samadhi that can be experienced by the Raja yogis who just practice pranayama without dealing with discrimination and dispassion, viveka and vairagya. Then you could huff and puff in the bandhas, and what you get is a state of I, the individual, see blank. Now, you may hyperventilate, you may have some sort of euphoric experience, but the individuality does not drop. So in the authentic Raja Yoga traditions, the annihilation of the vasanas, this intense vairagya, sannyas, the eternal sannyas, must be practiced. It's the attachments and identifications that keep the ego sense in place. Any thoughts on this before we go on? If this is just theoretical over your head, just put it on the shelf. Now, the last samadhi I want to talk about is what's called sahaja samadhi, which means natural or continuous. So the highest state is not nirvikalpa. Nirvikalpa is a mind state. It's the mind state of no mind, and it passes. So sahaja samadhi is the same as knowledge. What do I mean? When from my direct experience I know I am Brahman. Listen carefully. There are only two kinds of people in the world. Those who think they're a person and those who know they are Brahman. So if you think you're realized, if you think you're enlightened, if you're trying to be a spiritual person, you're still deluded. Sthita prajna, steady wisdom. Moksha is when I know I am that ground of being, that I'm not a person. I'm witnessing consciousness. And when I also see that the phenomenal world is nothing but consciousness, then there's no inside, there's no outside. When are you ever not you? So this is the state of the person of real freedom, real liberation. who's a full knower of the Supreme, who has retired into the Supreme, who's as calm as a fire that's burnt up its fuel, who's unafflicted by desire. All right, so this is the teaching in the scriptures and by the great saints on samadhi. If this is way beyond your understanding and experience, just put it on the shelf for now. Anybody have thoughts or questions about it? All right. So what I want to talk about this morning is what is the ego? So those of us who studied Vivekachudamani, there's a very famous section called the negation of the Panchakosha, the five sheaths. I'm not the physical body, the Annamaya Kosha, the food tube. I'm not the energy body, Pranamaya Kosha. I'm not the mental sheath where emotions and judgments happen, the Manomaya Kosha. Then he comes to what he calls the Vijnana Maya Kosha, the intellectual sheath. In the intellectual sheath, in the buddhi, in the intellect, there is a function. Shankara calls it karta. Karta means the doer, the agent. Part of its nature for the person in ignorance is it attributes to the self the qualities of the not self. And then it does another superimposition, attributes to the not self the qualities of the self. We'll get to that. But let's deal with the initial superimpositions called adhyasa in Sanskrit. So going back to our very famous image of the snakes and the rope. So if the travelers were walking down a dusty road at twilight and there's a rope in the path and he doesn't see it as a rope, and instead he sees it as a snake, and because of that he has fear. How does he get rid of the snake? Does he get out a hoe and chop up the snake?
No,
That's not going to work?
no.
Of course, what you and I usually do is we want to smooch that snake. Where does the snake exist? On the ground?
No, in the mind.
In the mind. Yes. So in the mind, we superimpose upon the rope the idea of the snake. So you indeed are the self with a capital S. I guess I should do it this way. Birthless, changeless, deathless. The self in me is not like the self in you. The self in me is the self in you. There's only one of us here. Whose nature is Sat, pure existence, Chit, pure awareness, Ananda, no sorrow touches it, and it is the fountainhead of all joy. But in the subtle intellect, I superimpose on that direct experience ideas of a personal sense of self. Gaudapada uses my favorite expression for it, jiva bhavana, the attitude or the feeling that I'm a person. The root of it all is I think I'm the body. Now, it's not just a little thought that goes by like an opinion. It's much more like hypnotism. So these two folks go to Las Vegas and they go to one of the shows in the casinos of a stage hypnotist. The stage hypnotist asks one of them to come up on stage and he puts him in a trance and tells him that when he brings him out of the trance, he's going to think he's a chicken. When he says the word wonderful, he's going to think he's a chicken. And then when he claps his hands 3 times, he'll come out of the trance. So he counts down 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, open your eyes. He says to him, well, did you get hypnotized? No, I heard everything you said. So, well, were you relaxed? Yeah, I was. Well, most people feel wonderful after they have this experience. The guy gets up and he runs around the stage going, quack, 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 quack. Everybody's laughing at him because he thinks he's a chicken. And then the hypnotist goes, oh man, that was the weirdest thing in the world. I was sure I was a chicken. That's how this personal sense of self, this jiva bhavana, operates. It's much like a dream. When I have a dream, I have a dream body. And it becomes a locus of perception. I peep out at the dream world. And a dream ego, I think that's me. But when I wake up, where does it all go? Gone. Because it was created by my mind. So when we're in meditation and we do this subject-object discrimination, I'm not the body, I'm not the feelings, I'm not the thoughts. Who am I? Who hears the sound of the traffic? And if the mind is quiet, I see there's nobody there. What happened to Jim or Daryl or Bhavna? It just dissolved, it disappeared. It can come back very quickly. But this egoism, this person is a kind of thinking. It's an event. It's not an entity. You are an entity. You are the entity. You are Purushottama, the ultimate essence of personness. So the watchword is, whenever I think I'm a person, I'm deluded. When that Jiva Bhavana comes into existence, and there are many other words for it. One of my favorites is Chit Chaya. Chaya in Sanskrit means a shadow. It's a shadow self. It's a phony self. It's a fake news self. Ahankara or ahankriti. It's a kind of thinking that makes a phony sense of self. Kara comes from the root kri, to make or to do. It's a manufactured I. So when I'm in that mind state where I think I'm a person, it's inherently got a quality of limitation. I call it spiritual poverty. I'm not enough. There's not enough. And it always presents a goal. I'll be happy when, it'll be better if. And that goal only takes two forms. I either need to fix or change the world, or I need to fix or change me. And then the third element we call kartavya, literally obligatory action. But what it means is jonesing, struggling. And the more I want it, and the further away the goal is, the more painful it is. That whole triad, I think I'm a person, I've got a goal, and there's struggle. That's all there is to the suffering mind. That is samsara. That's all there is to it. The whole thing is based on those three ideas. And the bija vasana, the root, the seed identification, is this belief I'm a person. I think I'm the body, or the body plus the personality. And what we need to see is the fundamental unreality of it. Ego always says, resolve the struggle of ego. More, better, different. Cash and prizes. I'll be happy when, it'll be better if. I will be okay. If that I to whom the mind is referring is an individual self, I'm deluded. I'm caught in the dream. Wake up. How do I get out? Stop. Go back. Cool hum. Who am I? Wait a minute. Oh, yes, that's right. I'm the witness. I'm not the body. I'm not the personality. So your watchword, your mantra, your anchor for this. If I feel like a person, an individual. I'm deluded. Stop. Remember who you are. So, for example, one of the things Daryl and I have talked a lot about, how you are a person who's always trying to accomplish something, to get better, to uh, complete a task. Am I making sense?
Yeah,
Who is it who wants to do that?
Daryl,
Is it Brahman?
no.
Yeah. I'm not saying not do your tasks, but understand that the very construct is rooted in delusion. It will never make you happy. Momentary little hit of juice that passes very quickly. Daryl, the individual, is an inherently miserable fellow. But not just you. It's Jim and Bhavna and you too. Get out. Swamiji used to shout, "Shut up and get out!" And people go, and they'd get up and want to leave the satsang hall. But no, he didn't mean that. Stop your mind. Get out of the mind. Remember who you are.
Jim, I have a question.
Yes.
So, if the mind is the problem, if the ego is the issue, why does it exist? How did it evolve this way? Clearly, there's some purpose that it serves.
Well, I totally understand the question, but unfortunately, it's like asking, why is the speed of light 186,000 miles per second and not 187? Can you answer that question? Can anyone? We don't know. It just is. So we don't need to attribute anthropomorphic motivation to the infinite. The Christians posit the notion of original sin. We're born into a state of spiritual ignorance. From that, we do stupid things. Both Buddhism and Hinduism posit the notion of Maya. Now, the locus of Maya is Brahman. All we know is beings are born into this world in a state of spiritual ignorance. The scriptures say we evolve through lower life forms to higher life forms, eventually gaining a human birth. And there are a whole lot of two-legged animals running around who are not yet really human. But eventually, the desire for moksha evolves in the human mind. So it is possible to cross over Maya, to wake up from the dream. And that's a very unsatisfactory answer for someone who has a perhaps scientific mind who wants to know why. But I've never heard a satisfactory answer to it. I'm sorry.
Sorry,
Pardon me?
it's okay. It is an unsatisfactory answer, I will say.
But if we go back to Shankara's very famous 7 questions, what is bondage? How has it come about? How does it continue to exist? How do I get out of it completely? What is the not self? who is the real self? What is the process of discrimination between the two? Notice there's no why in there. It's just an unanswerable question. It just is. Maya is. And knowing why about many things in life doesn't solve the problem. So, for example, let's say you've grown up in an abusive household and you were beaten by your father and you've had problems with men and authority figures your whole life. So you go to the psychiatrist or the therapist, and now you understand why you have these problems. But it doesn't make them go away. Understanding is frequently the booby prize. Now you have to do tapas. Now you have to change behavior, let go of the emotional charge on the trauma, and practice changing our reactivity and thoughts in our relationship with life. Knowing why oftentimes does very little to free us. And many people seek to ask that question, and the scriptures, in their compassion, will give us all sorts of creation myths.
Like what?
Oh, it's God created the universe to be entertained, Leela. God was lonely, so he wanted to have people know him, and all there's the Adam and Eve story, Genesis 1:1, all that sort of stuff. But I compare that to, Mommy, where do babies come from? The stork brings them to eat your cereal. It's an answer that's given to spiritually immature minds to satisfy them. Now get on with the business of practice. But for the more mature yogi, we're just have to be satisfied with mystery. Very unsatisfying. What and how are good spiritual questions? Why? Sometimes we can figure it out, but a lot of the time we can't. And the origin of spiritual ignorance is the greatest of mysteries. What the scriptures say is Maya is co-eternal with consciousness itself. It is its nature, just like it's the nature of a mirror to reflect an image. It's the nature of spatika, crystal, to have images occur in it. It is the nature of moisture in the atmosphere to reflect a spectrum. We call it a rainbow. Well, why did the water do that? I can't attribute anthropomorphic causation to H2O. So it's the question is invalid. That's kind of what all the yogis say. And everybody asks why. I used to ask my father why and my mother why. You know what they told me? Because I said so. Did your parents do that?
Yes.
All right. Anybody have any thoughts or questions on this whole idea of what the ego is? Now, let's look a little bit at strategies that are failures. Because the ego sense is far more of an event than a thing, attempts to secure, to solidify, to defend it are doomed to failure. So you're cruising along at work and you think, I am a good employee, I am smart, I am successful, and the boss says you're doing it all wrong. You get, what do they call it? PIP in the corporate world. Is that the right term?
Yes. It,
Personal improvement plan. That's what you get just before they fire your ass, right?
mhm.
Yeah. There's something wrong with me. What does that mean? My ego's been attacked. Or the opposite. Your partner says, you are the greatest. You are what makes me happy. You are hot.
Yeah.
Until next week. You idiot! How could you do that? Isn't that what happens? So what happens is we look at the world like the mirrors in the fun house at the county fair. One of them makes you look tall, the next mirror makes you look wide, another one makes you look like globs. I keep trying to secure a sense of self through the opinions of the world. No wonder I'm nuts. And you can't secure ego because it's not a thing. It's chit chaya. It's a shadow self. It's jiva bhavana. It's the feeling that I am a person. Oh, I need to build self-esteem. Well, better you should have a healthy ego than a contracted, unhealthy ego. But it never solves the problems, never solves the problem of fear, especially. As long as you think you're the body, every little pimple or wart's going to drive you nuts. Am I dying? Only knowledge of yourself and getting rooted and being identified with that. I am not the body. Now, this karta, this agent, is not evil. So, for example, Bhavna, did you have breakfast this morning?
Yes.
Did I have breakfast this morning? You do not know. So, something in your subtle intellect was an agent. You made yourself some breakfast. It's different than whether or not I made myself breakfast. I did not. That's not evil. That's not bad. It's just not you. That's the point. The suffering comes when I think I am that agent. And what is that agent? Guna and karma, quality of mind, force of the past. This used to trouble me because I would be at a meal, diksha with Swamiji. At camps, there would be a big table and he was there and we were kind of down below. And he would say, like, pass me the chutney. He's identified. No, it doesn't mean you have to talk funny. But you know whether or not you're a person or you're the ground of being. That vast empty space of awareness. So here's your assignment. If I think I'm a person, I'm deluded. It's not evil, not bad, it's just not true. Stop. See if you can disengage from the entanglements of ego and remember who you are. Now, Guru will help you, meaning the circumstances of your life, because your own karma will draw to you exactly where you're attached and identified, over and over and over again until we drop it. All right, we'll quit here, continue to meditate, and last week will be our last class. So if you have questions, my suggestion is you write them down during the week. I don't know if you've had the experience, you come to class and your mind gets tuned up and everything seems very clear. And then you go home and, oh, darn, I meant to ask about blah, 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 blah. Very common experience. You think of a question, write it down, bring it next week. All right. Om Tat Sat.